So if you haven't already guessed, my name is Bryson, owner of Rough House. I started this myself almost 25 years this year. This is a lifestyle that I didn't choose. I sort of was born into. My grandfather and my father did very much the same stuff. And when I started out just doing behavioral modification for the dogs who needed more than sit, stay, come, walk. If you go into public training, i.e. the PetSmarts and all that stuff, they do just basics. If you have a dog that has aggression issue, they can't help you. If you have a dog that is fearful, they can't help you. So the dogs that can actually go into the PetSmarts and the other sort of training facilities of the world is only a small 10%. The other side of these dogs that come from baggage, or just are sometimes are just kind of born a little neurotic, they were being pushed to the side because there was nowhere for them to go. And it really bothered me. Half of that would get put down because people wouldn't know what to do with them. The other half would get put onto somebody else, a family member, a stranger. Kijiji was the worst thing ever invented for these animals. And these poor dogs were getting bounced, bounced, bounced. And every time they got bounced, because nobody ever addressed their issues became worse, to the point where they ended up having to be euthanized. My grandmother always sort of taught me, find a need, fill a need, find a problem, fix it. I didn't even really realize it was a problem until one day I literally just picked up my head and realized 90% of the canine population were being put down and they didn't need to be. So I broke out from my family and I sort of started my own thing. And yes, I will train puppies. I love getting puppies because then I can make brand new fantastic dogs. I don't have to take anything bad out of them. Then I started with just the behavior modifications for the dogs that just didn't fit traditional. And it could be something as simple as the dog spinning at its tail continuously, or the dogs that sit at a window and bark at the mailman, or anything that goes by and they just can't come off. And before you know it, literally lightning speed, my phone, my email, my website exploded. And that's when I really realized how much of these guys were being just sort of pushed to the wayside. I don't know if people really understand the difference between rescue and adoption. If you go to an SPCA and adopt a dog, you paid money for it, you did not rescue that dog. That is a dog that you adopted. Rescue are the ones we pull out of puppy mills, breed for profits, off the streets, and sometimes people even bring them from other countries. The problem is every dog needs to be adopted out and or rescued, but not everyone can adopt a dog and rescue a dog because there's different skill levels. For example, I have a client who 3 months ago brought from Greece a 3.5-year-old, he's a Springer Spaniel, who has been a wild street dog his whole life. They knew nothing about him. They got caught up in the sad dog story, and this couple is in their late 60s, 70s. They've never had a dog in their life, never met this dog, just fell in love with the sad dog story and thought they could do a justice to this dog. And of course I get called because this dog is terrorizing their home, and in 4 months it has bitten 6 people. That to me is alarming. Unfortunately, this story did not have a happy ending, and unfortunately when we had to pry a 10-year-old's leg out of this dog's mouth, that was the end. And I think what they tried to do was quite admirable, but the problem is skill level. Not every dog belongs in every home, and not every home is the right home for every dog. So there's a crisis going on where dogs are being rescued. Everybody wants to rescue a dog, but the problem is some dogs can't be rescued. And as much as it hurts my heart, some dogs should not be rescued. And this one from Greece should not have been. So there's a second problem. So then my website, my phone, and everything started taking off again. So now I have all these dogs that have behavioral problems who, surprise, surprise, are coming from rescues. people who are rescuing them improperly. We want people to rescue, but know your limit, know your skill level, and know that when you adopt some of these dogs from rescues, you aren't getting perfect dogs. You're getting dogs that have emotional baggage, sometimes physical baggage, sometimes behavioral, and I can only do so much. So you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to provide some of these dogs a home? Not every dog belongs in a dog park. Not every dog can be walked in a public space where there's lots of people walking around, because they snap. So we can't take them in these. But again, people don't consider how many of these dogs cannot be around children. That means grandchildren, your children, neighbors' children, cousins' children, brothers' children. But they assume, well, because we don't have children, we can bring this dog into the home. Then I get a phone call because this dog has bitten some child. Unfortunately, these dogs are paying the price, and it's at an alarming rate. For every one person that can adopt these types of dogs, there's 55 dogs in need of a home, because these aren't the good dogs. This one is. This one is. A lot of what I deal with, 9 out of 10 dogs are not the good dogs. For example, Daddy. His old owner, prior to me, thought because this was going to be a good 160, 180 pound dog, being ignorant, thought the only way to control a big dog was to physically manhandle this dog. And this dog got its rear end kicked daily. At 9 months old, this dog picked up his head and said, "You will not hit me one more time," and bit him and put 42 or 72 stitches in here. But who paid the price? Daddy. Or almost paid the price. So here is a dog that got hurt every day of its life for 6 months and finally stood up for himself. But we as society blame that dog because it bit a human. And yes, that is the #1 major mistake. But what else was he supposed to do? He couldn't tell anybody. There's no 1-800 kids abuse line for him. There's no nothing. Most people, I'm not crying, I have a teary eye. Most people don't know how to deal with these types of dogs. But the sad part is prior to this bite, he brought Daddy to me and said that, you know, I think this dog is aggressive. I think this dog has a, you know, dog issues. So I asked him, you know, what made you think this? And he says, well, he ate the neighbor's, you know, golden retriever. I said, well, that's pretty much the strongest form of, you know, dog issues you can have. It didn't just hurt it, it physically ate it. That's dog aggression. You know, it controls the door, it doesn't let people in, it doesn't let people out. Well, that's pretty aggressive, and he had already nipped at, I think he said, his brother. So he brought him to me. I worked with him. Actually, my husband met him the very first day, and he came in and we put a muzzle on him just to be safe. And within 3 minutes, we had that muzzle off. The dog was brilliant. Then he heard the click of my gate where his owner came in, and that dog turned. So that now tells me it's not the dog, it's the human, so now I have to play detective. Because now I have to figure out what is it that the human is doing that's creating this in the dog. So I asked the human to leave. We worked with the dog again, maybe 3 minutes, took the muzzle back off. That dog got along fine. He heard the click of the gate, saw it was this human, boom, we had a bite. So I explained to him what he needed to do, how he needed to do it, and how much it was going to cost, and yes, I could fix this. And unfortunately, it all came down to the mighty dollar. This dog wasn't worth putting in the, I think it was going to cost him about $700 for me to fix this dog. This wasn't going to be a quick fix. It wasn't going to be a fix overnight, and there was not a facility for him like the PetSmarts that would take this dog. Wanted to go home, speak to his wife. Fine, I get it. It's a big financial responsibility. That dog came back 3 days later with the bite. It was either we take him or he was going to have him put down. So we fought and fought to have this dog. We now have him. He was in our house maybe an hour and he attacked my Rottweiler and drew blood. My husband went and rescued the Rottweiler, and me and this dog, who I barely knew, who I knew was going to kick my rear end. I don't know if I'm brave, smart, or ignorant, but next thing I know, I was on this dog and I was going to show him that first of all, we don't have to do this. Second of all, I'm not going to hurt you. And third of all, we don't attack dogs. Took me about 45 minutes. That dog was fine. The next day, he had prostatitis, got his infection taken care of, got him neutered, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked. That dog has been with me now 2 years. He's my right-hand man. I didn't bring him today, simply because he's at home working. He comes with me on many training calls. He helps me with the autistic children of some of my clients because he will lay there and he will take on anything. Nothing makes this dog step out of line. He loves everybody, everyone. He is a fantastic dog for rescue, but he's not for everyone. He won't go anywhere now because he is with us, because he's as good as he is because of the environment in which he's in. If I place him somewhere else, he can go back to that very, very quickly. And he's kind of on last chance because of the severity of his bite. So these types of dogs are rescuable. They're fantastic, but they're not for everyone. The other side to my issue is, again, my phones and everything are blowing up, which is what promoted this program. Was last year, I have friends who are paramedic, police department, fire department, and we take care of their dogs while they're on these really bizarre shifts. They had gone to a call, and the owners, who were in their 70s or 80s, Minetti, had passed away, and all of a sudden this dog is now homeless. Nobody's coming to get this dog. This dog is, how old was Nettie? 4? I think Nettie was 4. Nettie was a boxer.
Oh, Nettie.
Yeah, Nettie.
Nettie.
Nettie was a boxer who was 4 years old that had, in a split second, a fantastic life. Based on her record, her owners loved her. They took great care of her. And all of a sudden, she's homeless. Instantly. Nobody's coming to get her. And this is a dog that will not survive the Humane Society. So because of the paramedics that just happened to get that call, are friends of mine, I've got a phone call. Can we take Nettie? Absolutely. In comes Nettie. I had a phone call, I had a conversation with Sherry, and I said, okay, every time I start to think I have my feet planted, society shows me another issue, and I have to readjust. And then society shows me another issue, and then I have to readjust. The #1 problem that we're having now is senior dogs. Senior dogs are being put down at an alarming rate because nobody wants them, simply because of their age. It's discrimination. Everybody, don't do that in public. Everybody, don't do that.
I'm a dog.
Everybody wants the cute puppies. But the problem is, by the time those puppies get 9 months old, because most people haven't done their homework, are given up. Because they become an issue. They've chewed your house. They nip at your children. They've destroyed your furniture. They pee all over your floor. Puppies come with their own baggage, and so do the older dogs. The great thing about the older dogs is they don't pee in your house. They don't nip at your children. They don't destroy your house, and they're not rambunctious. But they're still discriminated against because they're old. So a lot of people my age and younger don't want these dogs. Do you even know what is classified as a senior's dog? You'll be surprised. What do you think classifies age-wise as a senior dog?
It's breed specific, really.
It is, but there is a norm. What do you think the average age would be classified as a senior dog by society standards?
7.
7?
7 to 10 maybe?
Yeah.
Well, I have performance dogs, and 7 is a veteran, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By society standards, 1 to 1.5, they classify as a senior dog.
Really?
Yeah. Not by training facilities, not by show facilities, in the humane societies. They classify a 1-year-old dog as a senior dog because it's no longer a puppy. For some reason, society only sees 2 types of dogs, puppies and old dogs. There's a lot in between a puppy and an old dog.
An infant or a teenager.
Yes, but society doesn't see the adolescents, so say, the teenagers, the young adults, the seniors. They see puppies and old dogs, and unfortunately, they're right here. So a lot of the senior dogs that are being passed over are only a year. Some of them are 2, some of them are 3. The average dog, again, depending on some of the breeds, they don't even start to mature and really become who they are until they're 3. But you're already classifying them as a senior's dog. So again, we found ourselves in a crisis, because here's all these dogs that are being classified as too old, because everybody wants the cute, innocent little puppies, that they're getting put down at an alarming rate. So I went, wait a minute. I have lots of senior friends that want dogs, but don't want the puppies. Why not put the two together? If you adopt a dog from me who has just been in through rescue, like the Milos of the world, there is an adoption fee. But if you adopt a senior dog, and you are a senior citizen, and for me, senior is 45 to 50, because we're not going to discriminate. Meaning that if you're in your early 20s, hey, if you still want to adopt one of my senior dogs, I will be more than happy to let you adopt one of my senior dogs. The problem is you don't get the benefits of this Paws for Seniors program, which is you can still adopt them. We will still provide all the same things, but there will be a slight cost to you. The Paws for Seniors program, we have worked with people in our area who will provide vehicles, taxi services to get the senior and the dog to and from vet appointments for free. Any training that this dog requires, which usually is not a lot, comes from me for free. I have recently become a distributor of a local pet food, so I can give it to them at cost. So instead of paying $85 to $100 for a bag of food, it's $35 for a 50-pound bag of food. Because I don't charge the overhead like the pet stores and the manufacturers. We provide, I have vet techs and vets on, not really staff, but on my rescue that will provide vet care at a discount. Because most people who qualify for the Paws for Senior program are on some sort of a pension. They can't afford, half of them can't afford their own living, never mind provide a life. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes, however it takes, at any cost, to save this guy's life, to put him in with somebody who just wants to love a dog. Because I don't feel that money should play in with these guys. They're not rambunctious. They're not going to pee all over your house. They're not going to, you know, if you have to walk with a walker or a cane, they're not going to pull you. They're not going to be yappy. They're not going to be bouncy, as you can see. This is what you get. But for people 55, 60, 65, 70, this is what they want. They want a dog that is there for them, but then they don't have to entertain. And why should two people or people and a dog miss out on a fantastic opportunity for a buck? If I was in this to make money, I chose the wrong career, because I am thousands upon thousands of dollars in debt, to the point where it scares me to think how much money in debt I am, which is why we do fundraisers. Because when these older dogs come in, we have to make sure they're vet checked, to make sure that there's no heart disease, no cancers, no arthritis, no nothing. If there is, then we have to get them on a program of maybe an anti-inflammatory or an antibiotic. We take care of all of that so that the seniors don't. So that the seniors can have the companionship and one more dog doesn't have to be put down because of age discrimination. He's got a lot of, he's 7, he's not up for adoption, but he's got a lot of life left, although he doesn't see it right now. He has a lot of life left in him. Why should he be put down simply because he's old? We don't do it to humans. We don't say, okay, Mom, I don't need you anymore, you're 55, you're of no use to me, out your door you go. Why do we do it to them? For some reason, in the last 10, 15 years, these animals, and it's not just dogs, it's cats, it's rabbits, it's all animals. We have become such a disposable society. We get a puppy because it's cute. We don't do any due diligence. We don't figure out what breed it is, what size it's going to be, how much energy it's going to take, what kind of training it's going to need. If you're somebody who's a couch potato, don't get yourself a lab. Not a good fit. If you're somebody who hikes and bike rides and does all this stuff, don't get yourself one of the bully breeds. They can't take it. But when I go to these houses that have issues and I say, well, why did you pick this up? Well, it was cute. Oh. Puppies are only cute for this long. And then you've got this for this many years. So there's pros and cons to both sides. Puppies are great, but they're a lot of work. These guys are now no work, but they still have a fantastic value. They can offer companionship. And because they are fairly slothy, they're perfect for retirement homes. They're perfect for assisted living homes. This one here, when we have time, we go into the hospice hotels, or ours is called a hotel. And these are people that have been just sort of left there. They don't have anyone to take care of them other than the staff. Nobody really visits them, and they've given up. He comes in, and all of a sudden, Mr. Smith, who hasn't picked his head up in 3 days, is now sitting up in a chair, giving him biscuits and loving the bejesus out of him. He has value. Just because he's old doesn't mean he's worthless anymore. He just has a different value than the puppies. So we can't keep letting these guys go simply by age. We are not disposable. They are not disposable. And we really got to change this mindset, because we as humans created this issue. We as humans are exacerbating this issue. And we as humans need to fix this. These dogs didn't ask to be born into puppy mills and breed for profits. They never asked for their owners to immediately and unexpectedly pass away. They've given you years and years and years of life, dedication, happiness, and then you dump him because he's incontinent, because he pees a little. It's kind of sad. It's very sad. It's heartbreaking to know how many dogs get put down because we as humans can't be bothered anymore. It's kind of sickening. I can't live like this. My whole life is to make sure no one else goes down unless it is absolutely necessary, in the sense that this dog is so violent and so vicious that it is a detriment to society. Those dogs, as much as I don't like it, need to be put down. All the rest, if we put in as much time as we choose a TV program into these dogs, we can fix this. We can find them homes. We can find them great homes. We can let them live out their old age. And not just, oh, he's a puppy, he's not cute anymore, move on. We as humans, we recycle these guys. As soon as the puppies become a little bit, off they go, in comes a new puppy. I know one lady that had 5 puppies in 5 years. And she still doesn't own one of them. Because it's the first sign of distress, the first sign of difficult, gone. Because he's not cute anymore. I think the old guys are delicious.
You get a little gray around the muzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they
It's distinguished. So yeah, we do all these different programs. We do tons of fundraisers. If you go to my website, we have, I just discovered about 2 months ago, the GoFundMe account. So we have the Pause for Senior on GoFundMe. If you go to my website, there's a donate button that you can do it by cash, by debit, by credit card. If you can donate cash. If you can't, donate product. If you can't, donate time. We have dogs that need to be walked. We have dogs that need to be bathed. We have dogs that need something. Every dog needs something every minute of every day, and I've got lots of them. If you can't donate time to do the dogs, donate effort, resources, whatever, to help us build a better fundraiser, a better something. Because we're at a critical point where we have more dogs than money. And like I stated, 98% of this comes out of my own pocket. I can't keep affording to do all of this with no funding. So last week, we had to put a dog down simply because we ran out of time and ran out of funding. Not good. I know it's only one, but that one carries a huge impact for me. That is a tremendous fail. We can't keep doing this. We have several now that are in the wings waiting for the right senior, and we have them out there. It's just a matter of pairing them up. But the thing is, before we can pair them, we have to make sure that we've done our due diligence. They've been to the vet. They have been vaccinated. Most of them are spayed or neutered at that point because they're older. Some aren't. So we got to get that done. We got to find out what, medications are on, what it's going to cost, even at a discount, to find out what senior can afford, because not all seniors are on pensions. Some seniors are, some aren't, some have great, some have little. We have to pair so many things to make an even match. But the problem is we have more than we have resources. We need resources, we need funding, we need product, we need time, we need experience. I'm a dog trainer. I don't know how to go out and scream on soapboxes for money. I try, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get into the papers. Somebody does. I don't know how to get on TV. Somebody does. I don't know how to get on the radio. Somebody does. It's just not me. I'll do the work if you show me how to get there, but I don't know how to get there. I am the worst person in the world on a computer. I can barely use my iPhone, which is why I have great friends who build my websites and build my posters, because I can barely send an email, which is fine. I'm a dog trainer. I live with the dogs, day in and day out. I work with these dogs day in and day out, and I would much rather be outside, playing with the dogs, getting up to my eyeballs in mud, than sitting on the computer doing all of these things, which I do. Or I scream orders at people, and the other ones that are behind me, going, hey, I need this, go figure out how to do it. Or, hey, I need you to write this letter. This is what I want you to say, make it fluffy. Because I'm very straight to the point, and sometimes I need that softer touch. That's not me. But thank God I have people that can soften me. Because when people ask me a direct question, I usually give them a direct answer, and sometimes my answer is very blunt and to the point. Sometimes I come across as hard. But I'm pretty straightforward. What you see is what you get. But when you need advertising and you need radios and you need somebody to listen, you need the soft fluffies of the world. So everybody brings value. Question is, are you going to bring me some value? Because I need it. Somehow. There's no one, not yet.
I'm just wondering, so you're sort of north of Belleville. Have you had some support from the Kingston area?
Yes, I have. I traveled to Kingston, Napanee, Brighton, Picton. We've gone as far as Hamilton, and I even have a few clients, believe it or not. Thank God I have, again, great people to show me how to do this wonderful technology. I even have clients in New Mexico, Santa Fe, and we do things over Skype. So when I introduced a tool that's a fantastic walking tool that's called a Gentle Leader, they didn't know how to use it, so I bring up a dog, I put it in front of my computer, somebody puts on Skype for me, and then I use my dog as a model, and then they have their dog, and we sort of go through this. Because I can't travel to New Mexico. I can't travel to Santa Fe. Mind you, I have had people offer to pay me my time to get there. But I can't leave my facility of, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, I don't know, 2. It's different every day depending on what we're doing. But that tells me we're doing something right, that I don't even know how they found me over there. Because, mind you, my website is worldwide, and I check it every day, and people in Israel and South Africa and Kuwait, everybody's looking at me, which is fantastic. So maybe that's how they found me. But if I can physically travel to you, I will physically travel to you. I will spend an entire day driving to Toronto to spend an hour and a half with you if I know by the time that I'm done I saved the life of that dog because you were so fed up and so frustrated and you didn't know where else to go. I will spend my whole day to do that.
I have another question.
Yeah.
And anyone can ask a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just wondering what your sort of, I don't know much about dogs,
Mhm.
but I do know that there are definitely different training styles and philosophies and things like that. Can you explain
Yeah.
what you use in your dog training?
I have been on I'm going to call it a rant to eliminate anything that causes pain. So I very much promote and use and have used for many, many years. I'm sure if I went to my truck, there's probably a couple in there, the gentle leaders. Why? The method is in the name, gentle. Choke chain. What does it imply? We're choking our dog. Pinch collar. What are we doing? We're pinching our, have you seen those ones that are the metal teeth that dig in? Those are called prong collars. From history, from experience, anytime you inflict pain on a dog, you are going to get the result that you're looking for. So if it's to get your dog to sit, you will get that dog to sit. But at some point, I can't tell you when, but I will tell you it will, that dog's going to retaliate. A dog will only tolerate pain for so long, and then it's going to rebuke, i.e. daddy. 6 months of getting his ass whooped, and all of a sudden he stood up for himself, but he was the aggressor. Really? So we very much promote, the 3 R's in Rough House are for rules. If you follow the rules that I set out for you, which are fairly simple, you get the respect from the dog. When you get the respect from the dog, you're going to get the results that you're looking for. Positive reinforcement. So somebody who inflicts pain might get an immediate result. It may take us 3 tries. But we will get the result by repetition and positive reinforcement. The thing I can tell you is in 6 months to a year, this dog's going to be fantastic. This dog over here, if he hasn't already retaliated against the person that's inflicting the pain, he will. Or you have psychologically damaged this dog so much that this dog is afraid to look left or right. So you've created bigger issues. Then when this dog retaliates, because it will, this is a dog that gets dumped. And then he comes to me and I have to spend all this time fixing him. If I can fix him, depending on how many years, months, or weeks he's endured by these hands.